Good morning and welcome to DCT Quantum, where we take deep coherence and we go to the absolute core of who we are in this third dimensional reality. Today is day 20. I did have something in mind to talk about today, following on from our conversations about the Gnostics and the idea that we live in a simulation, holographic matrix of sorts, and that we talked a little bit about the archons and so on and so forth. But I was going to talk a bit more about that today, but as often happens, something else came in, and this feels important to share with you. So I follow a physicist online called Nassim Haramein, and he's kind of at the cutting edge of discoveries about how our universe is structured. Let's just put it that way, and how that relates to you, to your consciousness, your relationship to that structure. And I find his work really fascinating, him and other scientists, because last year what I heard was, for this time period that we're entering, is that science is going to blend with philosophy, and we're going to see a lot of what the ancient spiritual traditions talked about. We're going to see that explained scientifically. So I want to just share what he wrote yesterday on his account. The universe spins as one. New astronomical findings reveal a lined black hole axes across vast distances, confirming what we have been teaching for decades. Our model of a double toroidal counter-rotating universe explains these cosmic alignments as the natural result of spin, which imparts a directional uniform force, causing objects in the spin field to align. The evidence grows stronger. We're all connected through this vast cosmic web where spin, not random motion, governs formation. What implications do you see for our understanding of the cosmos if it is orderly on a scale beyond what conventional theory has considered, and everything in the universe is fundamentally connected? So I talked yesterday for the first time, it kind of came out of the blue. I talked about the 5 steps of DCT collapsing into one spin, right? So I'm going to break this down. So a few years ago, I downloaded an understanding, or kind of like a coded map of how the universe is structured. And I saw this figure of 8. I saw this figure of 8, and it was a continuous loop. But what happened was, every time the loop, the energy, and by the way, so imagine on the 8, you've got loads and loads of universes, right? And when they point the middle bit between the 8, it's called 0 point. When they pass through that, it gets reset and it becomes a different configuration, which means that even though there's this looping idea, it it's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving, right? Now, there is a theory that if you wait long enough, so if you wait vast amounts of time and you were just the observer, you would begin to see that it is actually a loop, and it's variations on a theme. But obviously, we don't have that capability, so we can't even really conjecture that. The point of this is that as above, so without. As within, so without, right? As above, so below. These are the hermetic principles. So our body is also toroidal. So imagine an egg timer or an 8 doing this energetically, and the 0 point being just below the heart, the 0 point where we get to connect to, if you will, the center of the cosmos, which some people regard as 0 point black hole. So it keeps resetting, yeah? And then as we go like this in the figure 8, we're spinning. We're spinning. Now, within that toroidal structure, which is your body, You have energy centers. You have different parts of your body that do different things. We know about the chakras, but we also have different areas of the body, and each of those spin. So you have a spin in your electromagnetic field, for example. You have a spin with the toroidal, so you have a spin going that way. It's like the cross goes like this. You have lots of different things that are spinning, and most of us, because of all the programs, because of the way we were raised, because of the culture, perhaps even because of bad traumatic events, whatever, things have shaped us. And those all of those things have some kind of gravitational component. So we can spin incoherently. And how that manifests in your life is that your life is perhaps filled with contradictions, that perhaps things go really well for a little bit of time and then things go sideways for a little bit of time, or maybe you keep looping back in dysfunctional people, dysfunctional experiences. That's a loop, right? That's what you're spinning. So what DCT does, if you will, it brings you back to the factory default setting. It just brings you back in into the center, the 0 point, the heart. And all of those steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, collapse in space-time. So they collapse space-time and they become one spin. So let me explain that another way. So imagine this is step 1, and step 1 goes like this. It orbits like this, right? So you start with step 1, grounding to the earth. So you set that in motion, and it's really, really solid, which is why we start. And we do this, step number 1, because we realign with the planet, and the planet is already coherent. So when we align with the planet, our spin, which could be like this, when we wake up in the morning all over the place, we could feel ungrounded and scattered and, all over the map. When we cohere to the earth, the center of the earth's core, it suddenly becomes like this. It becomes stable. It's called a stable velocity or spin. Now, imagine that continuing to spin. That's step number 1, ground to the earth. Now, I want you to imagine another one going this way, right? So imagine an atom, another orbit going that way, another spin. That is activate the light body, right? Because up until that moment, when we consciously call that in, yes, we're breathing, but we're breathing unconsciously. We're not even thinking about our breath. We're not thinking about the light body. We're just reacting to our environment. We want the coffee machine to work. We want, is there enough dog food in the cupboard? These are the things that we're thinking about. But DCT will pull you into step number 2, that spin, which is activate the light body through breath. So imagine they're going at the same time, they're spinning beautifully. Step number 3, what are you doing? You're going to prime your electromagnetic field. Well, do you wake up thinking about your electromagnetic field? No, you don't. You don't. So when we prime our electromagnetic field, we again are cohering it. We're causing it to spin in a stable velocity. This is physics, okay? Now, when we get to 4, which is the on-powered I am, we're doing an even more powerful spin, because that's your centrifugal counter spin. That's the toroidal, that's counter spin, right? And it's the counter spin that creates anti-gravitational, collapses space-time, connects you with all one consciousness, brings you into the center of the universe, 0 point. That's the sweet spot. That is important. So we activate that. That's step number 4. Step number 5, what do? We connect through the power of 9, which is a safe portal, a higher portal, and we bring in a beam of light, which is coded light, conscious light from the cosmos itself. And we connect to the group. So we spin together. So that happens, right? That thing happens. Well, that's a spin as well. If you could see it from a physics point of view, you would see that's a spin. So imagine all these things spinning. And through that one act of coherence, DCT, you're able to step back and just see all of that spinning beautifully in what we call harmonic resonance. That means all the spins are spinning coherently. What happens is they become one. They become a sphere, an interdimensional sphere. This is the technology that you have in your body. This is what you don't get taught. So tomorrow actually, the next time that I meet with you, I will explain a little bit more how that works in terms of the waveform that we generate, because I think that's really important to talk about. But for now, the takeaway for today is that the cosmos, they've discovered that the cosmos spins. So everything is connected to everything else through some kind of orbit and spin. We are all entangled in some way. It's like a cosmic web. It's vibrational and it's all spinning. Remember that the ancients talked about the spinning discs. They knew what they were talking about. This is ancient knowledge we've just forgotten. They understood. So we're remembering that just like the cosmos, we also are spin agents. And the more coherently we spin, the more efficient we will use our energy. So we'll be lighter, brighter, we'll have more energy, we'll be more luminous, we'll be more expansive, we'll be more in the flow of life because we're not working against life, the flow of life. We're working within it. We're flowing with the spin. So last year I had a little joke. I said, this is not your mama's spin class. It isn't. It's quantum. The reason why during quantum DCT we use less talking is because we're getting in touch with the vibrational language of our technology. We're learning it. And guess what? The ego, the monkey mind, the reptilian brain has no access to it because they're finite. So don't rely on their feedback. They don't understand what we're doing, but you do. You understand what you're doing, and so do I. And when we come together like this, we are spinning together. And when you have spinning biotechnologies like humans come together around a concept or an idea or a purpose, they create a vortex. It's power of eight, Lynn McTaggart. It's quantum physics. So I'd like to dig into that a little bit more next week. I will repeat some of these ideas, but for now, everything spins. Everything spins. It just depends how you spin. So, I got very excited about all of that information. It was wonderful to see that post today. And I'll see if I can find that for you so you can discover more about Nassim's work. Deep coherence technique, quantum, is a practice, is a mastery of how your biotechnology works. You are interdimensional. But we ask you first to suffer the silence, to endure the stillness, to surrender to the pause and the gap and the not knowing, to being fidgety, to having invasive thoughts. We invite you to go deeper today. I will speak to the steps, but we are going to open up a quantum space. And in that space, I'm going to invite you to hold stillness and to connect to your own resonance. First, we're going to do the feather technique because So imagine all of your thoughts right now flying around your body like butterflies. Imagine all those thoughts coming up into the headspace, flying around like butterflies. And then imagine all those butterflies coming together to form a beautiful white feather. Very good. Now the weight of those thoughts are going to make the white feather drift down through your body, down, 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 until that feather reaches your base chakra, where it becomes two large stones. That is all of your chitter chatter. And those stones gently roll down your legs. Down, down, down. When those round stones reach your feet, they become liquid iron. They fill your feet with liquid iron, heavy, thick, and that liquid seeps out through the soles of your feet, down through the ground, rooting their way down until they connect to the elemental, mineral, metallic kingdom. Connect to the elemental kingdom now. At the center of the metallic roots is a round black core. Inside of the black core there is a beautiful crystal. It is liquid. Connect to it. And that's where you're going to anchor from today. The vibration that pulses through the metallic layers fills your body part by part. And I'm going to count from 11 to 1. When we get to 1, that metallic vibration resonance is going to be felt all over your body. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, Step number 2. Activate your light body using your breath technique. Step number 3. Prime your electromagnetic field. Step number 4, empowered. I am. Step number 5, connect to the group. Connect to one another through the power of 9. Now gently close with your own affirmation. We will begin to see in a dark room and here, in a space with no noise. Taking our consciousness down into the quantum, making a connection. So we remember. I'll see you again soon.